Me. Hello. That's not me, because that would be weird, because I would be in there twice. Wow. Hey, Stefan here from Touch Guitars. Not here, there. Yeah, ha! Stefan there from Touch Guitars.
Hi.
And we're gonna talk about touch guitars today. Which doesn't mean, it's nothing sexual. It's not, touch the guitar. And, technically you're touching your old guitar too, because they're not wireless, but these you touch in a different way. So before I give him the word, we're going to talk about the history of the multi-stringy tappy thing. That's what the company really should be called, the multi-stringy tappy thing. Back in the day, I don't know what day, he can tell you, maybe he doesn't. There was just a fretboard, and a guy called Emmett Chapman said, I'll make a fretboard with 10 or 12 strings, and you go and play it like this. And that was a nice idea, and it was literally just a fretboard with a pickup in it, and that was called the Chapman stick, because the guy's name was Chapman. I think he passed away last year. So, farewell to you, inventor of the Chapman stick. And you've seen this, the John Mayung Dream Theater, and...
I don't know, it's here and here.
What's up with the frickin' Spaniards coming here? There's, Carlos Asensio back there, visiting, and he's here because he only has 4 million subscribers, and he came to me to ask, how can I improve my channel? How can I get more subscribers? How can I be funny? How can I be more sexy and fashionable with the shirts? And that's why he's here. He's consulting with me on how to do YouTube. We will teach him. Hey, Carlos.
Sorry, I don't know what happened here.
You made a sound. That's what you did. Okay, moving on. So, Chapman, sticky thing, and you've seen John Mayung from Dream Theater do a couple of things on it. I think on not 6 Degrees of Inner Turbulence, the And he's played it everywhere, right? On many things. Definitely
It
on
was Falling into Infinity.
for the album that they don't like.
Yeah.
on the best Dream Theater album, that's where he's playing
Pop
Chapman.
albums.
Yeah. And then what's this guy with the our hair? Levin Man?
Tony Levin,
Yeah, playing it with Gabriel and other people. You've seen this. And then of course other people that only play the Chapman stick, which then later came another instrument called the war guitar. Couldn't call it Chapman stick with a body. Mark War, great builder, said, I would like this to have a little bit more body in terms of tone, because the stick sounded rather tinny in a way. And also it's really just, it's just a stick. So then it got a body, and war guitars, great instrument. I personally played a 12-string for many years while I was in the US. And I'll give you examples of that. With their pros and cons, one of the biggest cons of the war guitar, always price, because high price, possibly weight, whatever. And there aren't really many companies doing this type of instrument. And then comes along this guy and the people that he does it with, namely
Max Reuter.
Yeah, well, one of the big players of these types of instruments. They formed Touch Guitars and said, well, we also want to do this instrument. There's just not a lot of companies. And maybe improve them a little bit. And this is one thing that this video is about. Maybe make them more accessible to the average guy on the street. Because if you are a touchy-feely tappy player, like him, yes, you know this is your instrument, you're touring, you're making money with it, you are forking over the $6,500 for this top-of-the-line touch guitar. You're not going to fork over $6,500 if you want to try it out. If you're a guitar player, a bass player, and you just want to dabble a bit, you just want to see, is this a cool thing? You want to use this for some, as I call them, ear candy parts in some songs. You're not going to spend the money. You'd be dumb to do that. I'm sorry. So the question is to you guys, how far does the budget have to go down for you to test something like this? What is possible? Because these are complex instruments to build. We're going to answer these questions. We're going to answer the questions of how this thing even works. What's the whole idea behind it? What's better about a touch guitar than possible competition? Well, there isn't really competition. They're all friends. It's a very small community. And maybe with a video like this, and maybe one on a tiny little Spanish channel like Carlos's, we can expand the community and maybe actually bring them to more players. I personally have, I said before, played a 12-string war guitar for a few years because the owner of the label that I worked for had one and loaned it to me in the studio. And I didn't use it the way that he used it with all the low stuff. I primarily did higher things, and I used them for, as I call them, ear candy parts. Parts with some delays on it, like the really cool high parts in songs. I got one song where I used bass stuff. The ways to approach that instrument are mannigfaltig, as we say in German. There's a myriad of ways. You will see jazz players playing walking bass lines and doing jazz chords, which is very impressive, extremely impressive. Also boring as fuck, because you could just, get a bass player and a guitar player, pay two people. Possible. You could do accompaniment and melody. You could do accompaniment and chords. You could do only the bass part, which is what Ma Young is kind of doing, right? And what Levin is doing. So bass players like this because you have a different way of playing the bass, more percussive, and just have a wider range of notes. You could only do, which is what I did, the guitar side, and do really cool, affected sounds. The way you're using it is really up to you. Now, again, before I let Stefan talk, sorry, Stefan.
Yeah.
I will play you a couple of examples from albums that I have recorded where I used it. Possibly not in the way that they would want me to use it, but then again, it's creativity. You do whatever. So here are a couple of clips. I don't have video for that, so you'll probably see, I don't know, animals or something I put in there. Just here's music.
There is a theory which states that if ever anyone discovers exactly what the universe is for and why it is here,
A stream, it flows through time without direction. The current holds.
I was going to. You're already back? That was straight. Come on. Glenn is wrong. So, we'll talk about taking some fears away from you about how to play this. We're going to talk about taking some fears away from you when it comes to budget. And we'll talk about what kind of sounds do you even make with this. And Stefan is in a very specific position. So we have many angles on him. So he can actually explain to you what the dealio with this is. So this is one of your top level instruments.
This is one of the top level instruments.
Completely custom built. Can we show the arch?
So yeah,
on this one, right? This one's also arch?
this one is
This one's arch. So actually, you can see that this is
this camera. Yeah, focus. Yeah, there it is.
a little bit, yeah.
Yeah.
So this is Spectre-like. It has an arch. It is perfectly ergonomic, and you can actually see that the strap attaches here, not where it would be on a guitar, and on the back there.
And on the back here, yeah.
So the main idea of what you wanted to do with the instrument is an ergonomic playing position, because I've heard rumors. Umbrella Academy, get it? I've heard a rumor. Anyone?
I get it.
Nerdy shit. I heard rumors that with other instruments, there is a possibility of not perfect body posture. He can say that I can. And he tried to develop it in a way where it kind of sticks out like the huge kind of a protruding, whatever you want to call
Do
it.
your joke.
It's a penis! So explain what you did to make this dangle in front of you like this.
So I think the first part you already mentioned, it's where the strap goes on the instrument, like from the back and from the side. So it makes it perfectly balanced. Like you see, it's floating in front of the body. There's no big problem to get it in position, and it stays in position even if I don't touch it.
And even if you change the position,
It stays there.
it's actually not neck diving, which is crazy. Like,
Yeah, so it kind of swivels in front of the body, which is really cool. And we have on the top line we also have those shapings for the leg and for the belly, so that when it sits, it really sits in the body.
this right here
And
is
the
a
shaping-
leg.
Yeah, it's a leg shaping going there, and yeah, it stays in position. And the idea how to play it is like Henning just said. The problem is the ergonomics of all other instruments I've played. So I've played the Chapman stick, for example, and the war guitar and all those. The problem for me was always the way it's floating in front of the body, because it was like somewhere really heavy on the head. So you always have to push it like this. The stick has kind of a different system with a belt hook and a strap, and that doesn't help me to play it in a comfortable position. And what we do is it's hanging ergonomically perfect in front of the body. And what we do, we have the relaxed hand and put it on the body, on the neck, sorry. And so we can play a note, and it always looks. So as you can see, my shoulders are relaxed, my hands are relaxed, even if I play high guitar-like stuff, or if I play bass stuff like. So my shoulders are relaxed, my hands are relaxed. It's still a relaxed position. It's not like I'm grabbing the neck like most guitar players or bass players do, for example. It's free floating. And what we also did, we developed a technique on how to play it. So for example, if you play a note and you usually release a note, we have a kind of damper at the top, which dampens the open strings. Some do it with a groove gear thing or with a hairband or whatever.
But that already also came from the Chapman stick. And that is very common on these instruments.
That's common on these instruments, yeah. But even if I play it wrong with the wrong technique and I just release a note, you hear a small tick. So you hear the open string ring. And what we do, with our technique, we dampen it with each finger. So what we do is we do a touch, then we release the finger, but keep in contact with the string. And if I remove it now, there's no noise.
As you actually, with good technique, would do on any guitar.
Of course.
Yeah. Like you always keep your fingers on the instrument.
Yeah. So and we do it with each finger. So that's what we need, especially when I do funk stuff like I want it to stop and not things like these. And that's a basic technique. The first thing you really learn to do it with all fingers, like in a kind of roll movement. Of course, with. And it's not like to overemphasize it.
So the important thing to note is if you're interested in this type of instrument and let's say the budget for what we're going to show you isn't the problem, the big question is, how do you learn it? You can't just go into your local music school. Interestingly, I could, because from the first moment where I went into a music school, my guitar teacher, Kuno Wagner, back then, and a good friend for, many, many years now, actually played Chapman stick and then war guitar. So for me, my teacher always was a touch guitar player or TAPPY FEELY, TAPPY man player, because this instrument is the touch guitar. And we actually played concerts together where I did this kind of stuff on an Ibanez 7-string on my Universe, and I was always exposed to that, but you aren't, probably not. But the community is very good, and the players help each other. I love that in the main shot, you're not even in there. That's so cool. No, go back to me, Leslie. Much sexier, right here. Sorry. They've developed lessons that you can watch. There's a YouTube channel. There's some paid lessons. So they pick you up at zero and really guide you through the thing. Because what I said is the way that it's hanging. Get it? Penis. So this is the instrument I've been working with a little bit in a tuning that he doesn't even know how to use. So when it's hanging correctly, like this, I cannot see the fretboard. I mean, now I can because there's a screen in front of me, but I'm only looking at the side dots because...
Same with me.
Right here, I cannot actually see the fretboard. As a guitar player and someone who is, insecure, I want to do this. I want to see where I am, which then, of course, brings me into a position where the hands are still doing what he wants me to do. You are tempted to look around the fretboard, but his system will teach you to stand like this and know where you are, which right now I couldn't.
Of course.
So it is going to be very strange to do things with your pinky, hammer on, pull off. You're also doing pull off, obviously, right?
Of course.
So the really interesting thing is, do not think that it is difficult to play like when you're tapping on your clean guitar. If you're picking up your Ibanez or whatever, your Strat, and you're tapping, you need quite a bit more pressure. Yeah. The note will not ring the same way. The scale, the string tension, fret size, fret height, everything contributes to the notes really just easily jumping out of the instrument. You do not need a lot of pressure. You don't actually need to do this to get
That's
the sound.
why it's called touch guitar.
Yeah.
I just let my finger fall down to a low note and it's just there. So there's not a lot of pressure I put into the string.
So I think if you're one of those kids, the youngsters, the youngins, and you're into the polyphia stuff, these modern playing techniques, lots of tappy things, you should actually send one to Sarah Longfield.
Okay.
Sarah is, she's playing 7-string Strandbergs. Sarah is doing loads of tapping. She doesn't know what she's doing on the instrument, but by ear, she's so amazing in what she does. Sarah, you are amazing. And I think she would have a blast with this. And if you're one of those more modern players, I think you can get a lot of shit out of this. I think there's a whole new generation opening up right now with you polyphia freaks for these kind of instruments, because primarily we're talking clean sounds. I mean, you're not going to gent on it. You can. You could do driven stuff, of course, but primarily you will probably be in the more clean / lower gain regions.
That's also my kind of playing. But you can do heavy stuff. You can even use it with a pick if you like. You can play it like a regular guitar, doing finger picking stuff or whatever you like. But mainly it's designed for the tapping technique, of course. And
compared to the original 12/10 string, where it was really bass side and the guitar side, actually, when you look at pictures, the bass side was actually going from low to high from the inside out. So you were actually playing low to high, going this way, and then low to high this way. It was just a completely different way of thinking. Mm-hmm. But and then you actually had some high strings that you also had here. Weird for the head.
Strange, yeah.
Here we're thinking linear. We're actually thinking you play one part. We're not really necessarily thinking play bass, and what you were doing is one guitar part, one touch guitar part.
Of course.
So again, they have lessons to guide you. You're not going to buy a custom instrument for $6,500 to try it out. Very likely not.
Not really.
Right? So talk about what I'm holding.
So you're holding our kind of budget model. So like you see, compared to mine, I don't know if it has a focus now. Yeah, no, there's a focus. Compared to mine, I have 2 pickups and electronics and everything. This is kind of a stripped down version. So they are going for $2,500 plus taxes. and we just have one Delano pickup inside there, picking up all the strings. And Henning just asked me if it's possible to make it stereo. Yeah, it is, and we already did it. Some kind of extra charge, but just ask for it.
Because my issue, that's the one criticism I have with that instrument, which is extremely nicely built and absolutely worth the money. But my criticism is if I'm playing the low stuff and I'm going out of one jack, I don't want loads of reverb and delay on it. Or maybe not even drive. But for the higher stuff, I really want compression, delay, reverb. I want it to be nice and ear candy. And it's going to be muddy as hell for the low stuff. If you're keeping it rather clean without effects, it's going to be kind of boring for the high stuff. So having a way to say the 3 low strings, 4 low strings are one jack, and just to separate it, for me makes a lot of sense. Which again, that's not a no-go. That's a slight upcharge. He said maybe might be 100, maybe 150, but just it's all it is different electronics. Just saying, if that's what you want, I highly recommend you reserve that flexibility.
Yeah. So also with those instruments, everything is custom made. So if you order this 2,500 touch guitar, you can say, okay, I'd like it like, for example, this one where you have a Buckeye ball top. And
actually, this is the same price as this.
The same price as this.
That's pretty ridiculous. And the back is black limber.
So that's black limber.
Holy crap!
We have a 3-piece neck with dark veneer in this case, ebony fretboard.
So this is just a little bit old, very nice. But this is actually a fully painted neck with a bound fretboard. So in terms of price, you're looking at the same thing, and it's still custom. On the website, you go to the
pre-order.touchguitars.com. They can pre-order those because we build it in runs and do a run every 3 to 4 months.
I had the runs the other day. It wasn't fun.
And of course. So the only thing different on this model that is additional charge is a pickup, because it's an active pickup made by Sci-Fi. But it's a pretty special one, but it's pretty much the same price range.
So even if I wanted like a flamey thing on here, that wouldn't be a massive upcharge.
No. So almost no upcharge. So like flamed maple is possible.
Okay.
So it's included. So
obviously, if you're going to the custom, so these are built in Poland from a respectable company, and trust me, I checked it out. It is a simpler instrument, but it is definitely of high quality. And I really want to point out. I really want to point out the pretty stunning gig bag that's customized for it, fits perfectly in it. That, of course, comes with it. Does the strap come with it?
No, strap is, but you can use any strap. You get the strap locks.
You can use any strap. Okay, so that comes with it. That is cool. If you really want to try one, depending on where you are, blah, 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 they might let you try one. They might actually send you one, like a B stock. You can try it out, see if this is something for you.
We also sometimes have rental instruments, for example. So we have some prototypes that we rent. So people can ask us, maybe I want to try a touch guitar for 2 months. There are not many. Most of them are always around, so it might take, you have a short lead time. And it also needs, if we build a custom instrument for you, from the start of the run, it needs about 3 to 4 months to finish.
Which is actually not bad at all.
Yeah, it's okay.
Like you wait 2 or 3 years for Nick Huber. I've been waiting for freaking ever. Where's Nick? What's wrong with you? Oh, no. Love you.
So with the custom instruments, it's much longer. So it's 9 months now. But
now the big question that we had is, if we put our contacts together, we know people, and we were to be able to, let's say, take the design and the more simple nature of the Polish-made instrument, but actually make it somewhere in Asia, at a respectable company where people get paid beautiful money and flowers every day on their workbench, if we can get this down to 600-700 euro. No gig bag, but we actually get an 8 or also 10 string, because you can also get them in 10 string. We get that happening as an Asian instrument import. Would that drive you to say, oh, now we're actually at a budget where we can make that step and I can actually try this and add this to my repertoire? You don't have to stop playing guitar or think, now I'm a bass player. It really, as you could hear on my examples, can be a great thing to have in the studio. What I absolutely love.
That fits to your show.
Oh, I said that. This is. So this is from what line?
This is the T8. So with the T8, it's a little bit slightly different than this
Because
one.
it's not shaped.
But you have the shapings on the horns over here.
Okay,
So, which helps to get a little bit. So it's basically the previous instrument we made, and we redesigned it with a curve later.
Okay.
But the T8 is pretty cool. It's semi-hollow, of course, and you
How do I
how
do I hold that? You said earlier like this.
like this.
That doesn't. Here, like this. I don't have this on my leg. No.
No, like this.
This can work, okay? Because I was like, how do you play this sitting down? I'm like, come on. How cool is that shirt, huh? I mean, how cool is that guitar?
match.
What did we do?
So
We're not focused there, Leslie. Come on. Different. Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, there it is.
I mean, Mr. Goo touch guitars made for each other.
But you turn it around, the girl is much cooler.
Oh, yeah. So, smiling makes me thin. What? Smiling makes me thin? Beautiful neck on this baby. But what I loved these for were odd time passages, because I could really just think about it in count. So if I was doing on the left hand 1, 2, and then let's say 3, 4 on the right hand, I could easily repeat that, but just leave one note out, prog. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. And then I have a 7, 8 or 7, 16th, and just repeat that pattern. So for very brainy, mathy patterns,
Of course, yeah.
I mean, can you play beautiful, soulful blues on this? You might, but it is definitely great for that kind of stuff, right?
Yeah, so especially, let me do one example.
Yeah,
so,
sure.
so there's a ninth pattern. I always demonstrate it because I think it's cool and easy to show, because the pattern is just... That pattern is running all the time. Let's try to get the delay. And then you can play a 9th bass. Or I can do it divided into 3, which is also possible. Or 4, for example. Back to 9. Things like this. So stacking patterns together, going into the polyrhythmic stuff.
I loved it for that. And I actually, my entry drug was something like, if you listen to Satriani's A Day at the Beach, which was like, tapping stuff like this that Satriani did, which I really loved. There was absolutely this kind of stuff, but he did it on guitar. On this, it is quite a bit easier. Yeah. So, talk about tuning. I asked him to put mine, well, not mine, the one he loaned me, in a 4th tuning. So it's literally like a guitar. Because for me, just to play around with it, it was quite a bit easier. Just know exactly, I like to know the chords and stuff, what I'm doing. Usually they're tuned in 5th. Now,
So
why is that?
Yeah, so first of all, it's because it's the most possible range you can get out of a 34-inch scale length instrument that sounds cool. So if you go lower, it will get muddy. If you go higher, you need special strings. And so the tuning is like B, F, C, G, D, A, and then we have got the 3rd and the 9th on the top with a C, D, which makes it easy. Especially you can play chords like these, or you can do some really dense chords, like, because you have this dissonance over
You don't have
there.
to go far apart.
And it's got the most possible range. You go down to a low, so like the low one is B flat. You can go really low, and the highest note you can play is 22nd fret of your kind of usual guitar.
So you go from a bass, 5th string, a half step lower,
Yeah.
5-string bass, a half step lower, B flat,
Yeah.
to as high as it can be on a guitar.
Yeah.
Okay.
So B, F, C, G, D, A, C, D is the tuning. It's crazy, but it makes sense, especially since you're playing with both hands, and when you're playing linear and playing, for example, you're playing more in a kind of line playing, it makes sense to have those because we have 8 fingers covering 8 frets, which is really cool to do, and feels comfortable to do things like this, for example.
So, for many people wanting to try them out, these are beautiful instruments, but in a high price range. In, let's say, Germany, 25 plus tax, you're looking at $3,000 for the Polish-made one, which quality-wise, I would say is on this level. You don't get all the shapings and stuff. You don't get all the custom options. You get it in a beautiful gig bag. It's still, I would say, priced as a secondary instrument for the touch guitar player who's already kind of playing them. It's not necessarily an entry drug. So the big question is, I'm trying to convince him to actually, for the first time in history, bring this type of instrument in a price range where people can just actually afford them, try them out, get hooked, and then maybe order a higher priced instrument. So we want to know from you if we could bring these below $1,000. I'm thinking 600-700 is possibly doable with the one pickup, flat colors, still locking tuners because I wouldn't let him do anything else. It's got to have locking tuners.
Also, one thing we changed on these instruments, because the string lengths, you need guitar strings, which are long enough for 34 scale length. And yeah, this is perfect with locking tuners. So these are Spurzels. On the Polish models, we've got our own tuners, which are also really cool.
Way cool,
perfect.
Yeah. Talking about strings, I know for the Chapman sticks, you always needed custom strings.
Mm-hmm. Everything is possible.
These are standard strings.
So we are using pyramid strings, of course, and we love to have the contact core down there because it's easier to set up and it sounds more even because you kind of lose some low end. We like this, but it doesn't matter. You take your bass string, your usual bass string you like, just put it on, it works.
So if I order a set of bass strings, a set of guitar strings at Thomann/Sweetwater, links below, I can string this. I don't have to order something specifically in the US made by a specific company. I can just buy regular strings, which was always for me a big thing with the other guitars, like having to restring them is like, where do I get the strings? So that's a big thing. This, you just go to IKEA, if this is done, and literally get like a carpet, thing that you put under rugs. Even different colors are possible.
But we tried it out and it's still the best. So.
Leslie was looking at like, why are they putting a carpet thing under there? I said because it's to dampen.
Yeah.
Now you also said, and I think that's really the only thing left to say. Man, this is light. This looks like it would kill you in terms of weight, and it really isn't.
Yeah, so this is semi-hollow, like it's a T8 model. So this is called the S8. Then you have the T8, and these are the basic U8s. Now,
you said you can play this like a guitar. I mean, technically you could, but with the string tension being lower, if you're digging in here,
you need to get comfortable with it. I know how to play it and how to do it. I can even tap it, for example, and play it like a bass.
But you're not going to use your normal guitar/bass techniques because of the string tension. You have to adjust. You have to adjust your playing position. If you're playing with a pick, you're just not going to pick this up and say, no, I'll play guitar on it. That's not the idea. That's what you have your guitar for. I'm going to say, unless you've got something else to add.
No, I think we're done.
We covered loads.
Covered everything.
If you're interested in this, go to touchguitars.com. A very nice website. Put in a pre-order for your... Was it U8?
U8, yeah.
U10?
U10 is also possible.
Okay.
But the U10 has this crappy tuning you just told about with the fixed strings on the inside.
That's
so you tune like in fifths like this and fourth like this or fifth like this, like you want it. But tuning, everything is possible with the tuning. It's custom.
The interesting thing is what we want to know, if he went the ridiculous route, which is a lot of work to actually get a budget line made, then we'd have something under $1,000. We'd have something in the mid-price range for the, ambitioniert, for the ambitioned, I don't know if that's the word, a touch guitar player, we've got the Polish line there, right there. And then, you know, you're going on tour, you're touring with Bonamassa on touch guitar, I don't know. Then you can get a custom instrument done. At the moment, worldwide, any brand doing these kind of instruments is really only covering the high-end market. So Stefan's really the first one to offer something on that level for that price. I personally think it is still, as an entry drug, quite high. So would you be interested in a budget line? What do you think about these instruments? Really Google touch guitars. If you want to see performances and see how it's used, also Google war guitar, Chapman stick, get in the material and see what's possible. I particularly think now the market, with the Polyphia being out there and those kinds of players and really technical people, math rock, the Sarah Longfields of the world, there is a completely new market open for these, and I think not a lot of people know them. I'm pretty sure that if Tim Henson from Polyphia got his hands on this, he would touch it. See what I did there? Stefan, thanks for hanging out.
Yeah, thank you.
I don't know what Carlos is doing. Probably porn.
Looks
Looks
like this, man.
I'm looking near options too, because YouTube is very, very low.
His YouTube numbers are shit. He's looking at options on how to make money.
Yes,
I heard Bitcoin is good.
yes, I should invest.
Yeah, check on Bitcoin. I would invest in that. Insider joke, people. Thanks, Leslie, my lovely wife. It's still weird to say that, but she's up there. She's my wife. For switching, and we're going to put links below. And animals.
I went astray, but I could have become someday. Father, have I lost my way?